I'm Allendale Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. As we take a look at what's happening across the country here right now, most of what we're going to be talking about has an eye toward this weekend, as a major weather system is going to be trying to work its way out of the central plains and across the rest of the country. How it moves out is still the topic of some conversation. We're fairly certain now that we're going to be seeing this system move out in two pieces, one piece for the weekend and then one toward midweek next week. However, as we take a look at things developing across the large part of the country, we also have to look at who gets the worst and when. For example, the first wave might be a little bit more interesting for places in the Central Plains in wheat country, and you know what, the middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, might be where things get to be the most interesting for the Corn Belt. As we kind of break this down and look, we see there was some moisture already last night and early this morning through the I-25 corridor and out over eastern parts of Colorado. We're going to be looking at a little bit more of this moisture working its way across Texas as we go through tomorrow. Rain/snow, depending on where you're at. It really looks like most of it's going to be snow, though, as the freezing line really starts to push to the south. The big wave of moisture for the Central Plains, though, comes as we go through the later part of the weekend, from late Saturday through Sunday. What we see here is the heaviest snows there developing over the eastern half of Kansas, and then we got snows back in the mountains over Colorado. Those heavy snows moving out will bring a little bit of accumulation, probably on the order of 3 to 6 inches over eastern Kansas, but maybe not so much back farther to the west. For example, western Kansas, hard red winter wheat areas there may miss out, so we'll have to watch that very, very closely. Could be a disappointment there. Heavy snows in eastern parts of Colorado, of course. And then as that second wave comes out of Colorado and across Kansas, we could see some on-again, off-again moisture, let's say from Sunday through Monday, with the warmer air surging northward Monday into Tuesday, bringing precipitation to finish out as rain over eastern parts of Kansas. So there's moisture coming to the wheat belt, but the key here is I don't see real good moisture everywhere. So the wheat market right now has been fairly reluctant to move on any kind of weather concern. The thinking is there's enough snow cover out there that it's not going to be a big deal. But there's not snow cover everywhere. Now, as we go off to the east and take a look at how this thing wants to develop as we go across areas east of the Mississippi, that's an altogether different animal. As we see some fairly significant moisture trying to work its way in over the weekend, accumulating snows in the Corn Belt, maybe some significant accumulating snows. And then we're going to be following that up with snow north of I-70 as we go through the middle of next week, and rains potentially south. We're looking at good accumulations everywhere. As we move into next week, the warm air looks like it wants to surge through, but models are still arguing as to whether it comes to I-70, whether it goes up to I-80, whether it stays US 50. A lot of consternation there, and you know what? It's going to take a few more days to probably work through that. Longer term, all right, so we spent a lot of time talking about this system right here. What about the longer term? Well, the longer term right now doesn't really have much to get excited about after this weather system. Cold air is back. We're going to be cold for most of the rest of next week. And then as we go into the following week, we're probably going to be seeing temperatures warm for a little bit. So 8th, 9th, 10th, keep an eye on there. Moisture staying at bay, warm air trying to surge in. And then we still see a significant cold blast trying to hammer back down toward mid-month. The latest run of the GFS did try and keep the warmer air for longer. But right now the GFS is by itself in that kind of solution as well. So it's going to take a little time to work through this. Definite cold start to March, and the middle of the month could be what gets argued about just a little bit here going forward. That's the way things are stacking up at mid-session. If you've got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.